Oh, that's fine with it. The old sawmill. They finish all the logs going here. The pond. There's a slough.
Perfect. So guys, in front of us we have the head saws of our steam sawmill. Now, this mill operation actually begins in the mill pond where we offload our logs, and the reason we do so in the mill pond is so we can float the logs around and change the order we cut them in. Because at one point the pond would have been chock full of logs, and if we had an order procedure and had to float around all the clear logs, well, we would. Otherwise, we'd be lugging them around on land, and it would be pretty annoying. So now, we drag the logs up that little ramp over there via the haul-back winch. And actually, if you look in the water, you'll see the remnants of what was once a little gas-powered saw. Because we did used to cut our logs down to size in the water. Dragged up that ramp, it gets elevated by 3 levers that you can see in the wall. So for each gap in the wall there is a lever. Those levers can elevate, allowing the log to roll down them onto those 2 chain belts, which will bring the log over top of our log turner, which is a little arm that maybe you cannot see because of the logs in the way, but it's an arm that reaches up above the deck and slams the log against the carriage. Now, the log carriage is that device there, and historically there would have been up to 2 people working on it. So you have a dogger who would be doing this job right now, setting up the wood on the cradle, putting those dogs in, dogs with spikes by the way. Now, that man's name is Rob, and he is actually acting as a dogger and a setter. So a setter stands at that lever there, and he throws that lever, which pushes the log into the path of the saw blade, altering the height of a cut. Now, there are 3 dimensions to every object. You have your width, your length, and your height. And we have 1 saw that determines each dimension. This saw determines your height, so how high off the ground a piece of lumber will stand. But this saw also limits the width, because you can only get about a 5-foot log between the 2 centers of the saw blades. So now if you'll notice, there's actually probably about 4.5 feet of clearance between the wall and the saw blade. So if we can get 5 feet between the saws, if we can get 5 between the saws, another 4 between saw and wall, and believe it or not, we can actually cut a log to a max length of 40 feet. More on that later. So now, you guys actually have the ability to custom order lumber from this mill, and we will cut it to whatever dimensions you specify. Now the thing is, when we sell you lumber, we do not plane it, because our historical planer only has 4 blades, and it's illegal to use a 4-bladed planer because the kickback is too strong. You can break bones. Now the upside to that is that if we were to sell you a 2x4, the dimensions actually would be 2 inches by 4 inches rather than 1.5 by...
Sawmill in operation. That's all the wood it's been cut. These are the end pieces.